Hey guys, it's Matt Rosenberg, and I'm on a roll right now. I just shot like 3 or 4 videos, and I'm just feeling great. So I'm shooting another one, and this is kind of on something I've been working on, and it's shame. And shame is a very heavy emotion. And so like the shadows have many layers. And I believe this is to be my main one that I really need to integrate. I thought it was the fear, but it's not the fear. It's the shame. Let me explain what shame is, because it's a very it's not used very often in our culture. Shame it is developed when you're very young. It is the pattern in which you unconsciously think that you are bad. Okay? So let me describe how this could manifest, how it likely manifests. It may come, so individually, it may come as like a self-judgment, a self-loathing. Like you eat something and I shouldn't have eaten that, and you get in your head and I'm an idiot, and you start judging yourself. The root of that is likely shame. That's why when I originally made that video, Signs of Orthorexia, I became aware that the pattern in me, I didn't know it was shame yet, but in the pattern of me had nothing to do with what I was eating. It had to do with a very deep rooted part of me that was not integrated. It was not whole. It was wounded. And so how we take this on is, and I'm going to speak more about the other ways it manifests in a second, but how we take this on is that we see a parent and having a tough time, and we assume it's because of us, right? Who else could it be? I'm this 4-year-old, 5-year-old. The parent is having a nervous breakdown, or the parents are fighting together, and the kid internalizes it as it's me, and you begin to think it's you. You're bad, and you begin to really believe that you're bad. It had nothing to do with you. Or, possibly they blamed it on you, but the reason a caretaker can't keep it together, that's not your fault. It's not your fault at all. That's not yours to take on. It's a responsible adult that can't seem to raise a child in their integrity, and that is not your fault. So I wanted to say that, because the process of beginning to really let it go. So other ways it manifests is, let me say that this is so unconscious that you won't know. You really won't know, because it's so deep. It's so deep. You really won't believe you're worthy. You could tell yourself I'm worthy, but you really won't believe it, because there's this inner voice that keeps coming back. That is the shame. So in a social circumstance, it will likely manifest as a social anxiety. So you become caught in how you will be perceived. This is a very strong ego contraction. This is the root of anxiety and depression. This is the root, the ego contraction, a strong sense of I. Because when you literally begin to transcend this, there's less of a sense of I and more of a sense of us. You can truly see, the reason this person did that was because of that, because they were feeling that way. It had nothing to do with me. It had nothing to do with me. So you begin to internalize other people's actions as your fault, and there's guilt. And you likely will focus on these things. So when these things happen, someone rejected you, you felt like your mind will loop back for confirmation of why you are not good enough. Your mind doesn't loop back Or, see, the flip side of, see, this is where it gets kind of manic depressive. It loops to, I'm not good enough. Or on the other side of the ego spectrum, it loops to, I'm special and I'm good enough. And you think of all the times people praised you and all the good you've done. Or the other side of it is, I'm bad, and it's so subtle. It's so subtle. I swear you will not know it is even there. But I'm telling you, if this sense of self-judgment rises often in you, this is likely the root. And it is the lowest, on Dr. David Hawkins' scale of consciousness, his vibrational level, the lowest form of consciousness, the lowest vibratory rate is shame. So for a person like myself that does experience openings in which I do yoga and I meditate and I pray and I get into the love and I feel the compassionate awareness, and then I drop into the shame, almost like that, it does not feel good. It does not feel good at all. It's actually it's brutal, and I've actually endured this my whole life, and I'm working to integrate it into my integrate it. Now I'll talk about integrating in a moment. But there's something I really wanted to mention, is very important, is that this shadow of shame, not only are you afraid of rejection, but you're actually, this is amazingly deep. Not only are you afraid of social rejection, fear rejection, but you're actually looking for it. You're constantly looking into other people's eyes for that moment of rejection, of I'm not good enough. So like I said, it's a strong ego contraction, a very strong sense of I. So that's why all like the really people who do amazing work in the world, they get out of themselves and they can really begin to do service. And so I'm working on, I'm already doing service, but how can I get out of myself more? How can I integrate this shame? How can I integrate any shadow, really? But this is the big one for a lot of people, okay? And how you integrate a shadow is you just compassionately own it. So you become aware of the way you start to feel guilty, or you start to fear the rejection, or of how you look for the shame. You become more and more aware of how you do it. And you don't resist it. You actually love that part of yourself. Thich Nhat Hanh said, he was speaking about anger. He said, you hold your anger as if you're holding a newborn baby. That's the compassionate awareness that I speak of. That's what I'm talking about. So within any shadow, guilt, fear, shame, anger, don't resist them, don't push them away. Look at them, hold them. They're part of you. The reason they're so uncomfortable is because you don't want them to be part of you. So just own them. As you become more familiar with them, I can say for sure, because I've been integrating other shadows, is that, and already been working with the shame, is that they arise less and less, and the intensity in which they arise is less, the reactivity in which you push them away is less, and life gets fuller. It gets more juicy. You stop wasting all your energy on pushing the uncomfortable things away, and you own them, and you can still, so this is how you transcend. This is how you include the ego, you include the uncomfortable thing, how you push it away, but you also transcend it. So you don't have to dwell on it. You move past it once you truly own it. So I hope that video was helpful. I spoke for much longer than I thought I was going to. Have a great day. Peace, love, my friends.